Praise the Lord to you all. Today I would like to share a few views about God's love, the highest form of love. So in today's world, if you see, everybody is searching for true love, and we can never find true love on this earth. Only God is able to provide us or shower upon us the true love, and there is no other love in this world which is greater than God's love. So God's love is the highest form of love. So let's see what is God's love, and how to experience God's love, and if God is so loving, then why do troubles and trials and sufferings come to God's people? So these things today we will be seeing. Actually, there was a Bible college, and the professor was preaching to the students upon the topic that is God's love. So he was trying to explain God's love to them. So when he started telling that God is love, then there was a student who stood up and he said that I don't believe in God. So the professor said, oh, is it? Okay, why do you not believe in God? So he said, I don't like God. So then the professor said, okay, please explain or describe to me the God that you don't like. So the student said that the God that I don't like is the one who allows problems in our lives, who never forgives us, and who never delivers us from the struggles, and who just watches us, and he is a revengeful. The professor said, is it that is your God is like that? Then I also don't believe in such a type of God. So the student was shocked what the professor was trying to say. So the professor said that the God I love, I am saying that I believe in is a God who forgives, who is compassionate, who is merciful, and who delivers us from struggles and problems. And he is a God of great love in this world. There is no other love greater than his love. So this is the type of God that I am saying that I believe on. So immediately, when we look into the Bible, what does the Bible say about God's love? God's love, if you see Psalms 103:1, it is said that, for as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is his faithful love towards those who fear him. So how great is God's love? It is, we cannot measure it. As the earth is, as here God says that his love is so high, so much it cannot be measured. As the sky is above the earth, so much is his love towards the people. And in another verse in Psalms 103 and 17th verse, it is said that it is from eternity to eternity towards those who fear him. So there is no stop, no, from generation to generation. If you see in other languages, it is written from children to children, his children, their children to children, generation to generation. His love is keep blessing them, it keeps comforting them, it keeps strengthening them. So this is God's love. And in 1 John 4:16, you see, it is written over there, and we have known and believed the love that God hath towards us. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God and in him. So what is this dwelleth in God and God in him? So here, to explain this verse, I would like to illustrate on a small incident, so that we would be able to understand this, what is the meaning for we dwelling in God's love and God in us. So here, suppose there was a mall, and just imagine that a mother and a small child goes to a mall for some purchasing. So when they have gone over there, suddenly mother is so much busy in doing the purchasing that the small child, she was just looking at all the items over there, and just looking like that. Slowly she just moved away from the mother, and she got lost in the crowd. She could not find her mother. So she was very much troubled. She was very much in tension, she was started crying because all the faces around her looking so much strange to her, and the way to her mother was not known to her, and or to way to go out of the mall also to their house she does not know. So now she was in panic, and she was just looking at all the faces if she could find her mother's face. So this situation, that child was so much troubled, and suppose suddenly after 5 minutes the child will find her mother, and mother immediately she comes and she hugs her, and she holds her hand. Then the child is filled with so much joy and happiness and peace, and all the trouble vanishes, and all her struggle to go to her house, the way to go to her house is not a problem for her, because she is holding the mother's hand, and mother will take her from out of this mall to her house safely. So actually if you see the situation, the surrounding around that girl, same strange faces, same mall, and everything is same, and but then that panic and that troubleness in her mind is left now. She is no more trouble, she is no more in panic, because she is holding, the situation around her has not changed, only that her mother's hand is in her hand. So this is when situations around us, they need not change. They may look like panic, they may trouble us, they may disturb us, but if we dwell in his presence, we dwell in his love, it is like holding the mother. The child is holding the mother's hand. Now the child knows that no need to worry about going home, because mother will take her carefully. So when we are surrounded with so many things and we don't know the way for our problems, then if you dwell in God's love, then you are 100% sure that God will lead you out of that problem, because now that you are dwelling in his presence and God is in you. So this is what this verse says, that God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. So here another thing I would like to bring to your attention is that here just knowing that God is love is one part of of tasting God's love. The real thing is that when you experience God's love, so just knowing the knowledge is not going to bring any change in our lives. That God is love, it is not the knowledge that God is love does not bring any change in our lives. But then when you experience that God's love in your lives, then it's going to bring a change in your life. Because suppose we know that water, the chemical formula for water is H2O, and we know that water can quench the thirst, and this knowledge that water can quench the thirst means it can remove my thirst. This knowledge is it sufficient to quench the thirst of a person? No, he should drink that water, then it is going to be helpful to him. So just knowing that God is love, it's not going to transform our lives, but then when you experience that love, so when we are thirsty, what do we need? We need a glass of water. The same way in this world, we know that God is love, that alone doesn't bring any transformation in our lives, but then when you experience that God's love, then only it is going to be of it. This is a verse in the Bible, Ephesians 3:18-19. It says that, I pray that you may have the power to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length, height and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, so that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. So here Paul is telling that we need to understand. We should try to understand the length, the breadth, the height, and the depth of God's love. And because it is not so easy for us to understand. In another verse in the Bible, it is written that it will take for us, it will take pages for us to understand the God's love. So if God is so loving, if God is so compassionate and merciful, then a question may arise in our mind that why does God allow suffering and pain in humans' lives? So here let us see what may possibly be the reasons that pain and suffering come into the life of the humans. Here we see here that is John 16:33. It is written, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." So this verse, if you see, it is saying that you will have peace when you are a child of God. You will get the peace, but then he says that you will have tribulations, you will have trials. I have overcome them. I will help you to overcome them. But then, but why do these troubles, or why do these trials? God is saying it will come to in our lives. So then we can see that it's written in 1 Corinthians 13:12. It is written, "We may not understand it now, but maybe after some." That is, if you read that verse there, it is written, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known." Here they are saying, now we will not understand it fully. It is like a dim glass. Behind a glass, if you see how the shadow will be seen, not so clear. So the things which are happening in our lives, the problems which are coming in our lives, may seem that we can understand, but then we can't understand it fully. But there will a time come when we will be able to understand this fully. See, if you see, for example, in Job's life, if you see, Job is thinking that problems came in his life because of Jesus. Jesus is allowed. Then Jesus is so and God tells the reason why Job's life problems came is because of Satan. But Job is thinking the problems came in his life because of God. And if you ask his friends are thinking because the problems came in Job's life because of his sins. So each one is having a different perspective of the problems in Job's life. So we may not understand that completely, but then a time will come, according to the verse in the Bible. It says that God will make everything clear to us. But then even though we may not be able to understand the real meaning, but then we can understand why the problems come if you will concentrate or focus on these points that I'm going to discuss right now. So what are those points that which says the reasons for sufferings in God's people? The first reason you can say that God is not the creator of evil or suffering. So God has not created any evil, because when he created the world, when he created the animals, the birds, and then the humans, so he saw everything. And it's written in the Genesis 1st chapter 6th verse, it's written that when he saw everything that he had made was very good. Behold, and it was very good. So when everything what he made was very good, and he did not create any evil, but then God had to give a free will to human. Because if God is going to make us, create us in such a way, or design us in such a way that we have to love him, then it is like a robot which we program, and then it is just showing us love because we have programmed it. But then love is not that thing that it comes out of force. So God had given a free will to human, that you should love me with your full, he said, no, you have to love your God with your full heart, full soul, and full mind. So here when God gave that free will to man, that free will was misused. No, so suppose we are waiting for a gift, it is our birthday, and then we want a gift from the person whom we love the most, and suppose that person doesn't give us the gift, and then we ask to him, then suppose he brings the gift, then what do we say? We say, no, I don't want the gift, because we don't want that we are forcing him to buy for us, showing his love, we don't want that we will force him and then he will show. It should come out of himself. So same way with God doesn't want to force us to love him, but he gave the free will. When this free will was misused, then the evil, the suffering all entered into the world. So the God is not the creator. This, whenever an evil happens in our lives, we should remember that suffering comes in our life, that God is not the author of that evil thing, but the free will given to us has made the path for the evil to enter into our lives. And here we see that when Adam and Eve was kept in that Garden of Eden, he created everything beautiful and he gave it to them, and he also every evening he used to come and have a fellowship with them and share his love. So but then the human was not satisfied with only God's love, but he wanted to become God. When Satan came and told him lies about God, then he misused the free will given to him, and he distrusted God and his love, and he was unfaithful. That's why he just fallen into it. Thereby all evil and all enmity, all sufferings came into this world. Then another question may come into our mind: if God knows that this evil was going to happen, then why did he knows that we will disobey and all that, then why did he create humans? Why did you do all this? So then we can also answer this question in such a way that the parents, when they bring us into this world, they know that the child, when it comes into that, there is so many temptations, so many trials, and the child can have a blessed life or it can have a cursed life, but still the parents are bringing the children into the world, expecting that the child will listen to him, will obey him and have a blessed life. Same way God created and he gave. He thought, at least he was thinking, there will be a few who would really love him and follow him and stay with him in heaven. So he wants to take, that was the only purpose. He wanted to have a fellowship with the people. That's why he created the human beings. That's why he wanted that they should love him. So if he has created 100 people, then maybe 50 people will love him really. So to give a chance for them, God has created this